Yeah. But yeah, as we go into this game, Thursday Night Football, I'm not expecting too much in terms of, fantasy production in this game. What were you saying the over-under was? 42?
41.
41.
And a half, I think.
And I like the under. This is just like off the top of my head, kind of, going to my intuition, my gut. But it's just a lot of injuries on the Browns side of the ball. But then on the flip side, the Browns are at home. Pretty good defense for the Browns. I know they've been giving up the last couple games, but, at home on a short week against I don't want to say a subpar Broncos offense, but a mediocre Broncos offense so far. So, yeah, I'm not really expecting too many fantasy points to be scored in here. So, but with all the bye weeks that you have, or all the teams that are on the bye week, as I should say, it's for some people, you're just looking for anyone with a pulse at this point to get into your lineup that can get you some fantasy points, because there are so many teams with so many superstars that are on bye this week. So, with that being said right here, Teddy Bridgewater, to me, he's a QB2. If you're in a 2-quarterback league and you want to play him as your second quarterback, go for it right there. But, the Browns defense, it's kind of a weird stat here, but the Browns defense, they've allowed the third lowest completion percentage at just 60%, so pretty stingy. But then on the flip side, they've allowed 14 passing touchdowns, which is the third most in the NFL. So for I don't know why, but they're giving it up. They're giving up touchdowns, but they're not giving up a high completion percentage. And then Teddy Bridgewater, 19 or more points in 4 of the 5 games that he's played. He's had 2 or more touchdowns in all of those games. So, like I said, he's a quarterback 2 to me. I think if you're looking for a quarterback 1, maybe you have a Dak or I can't even think of Herbert's on a bye. I know that. You got Kirk Cousins on a bye, I believe. There might be some better options on the waiver wire. You might have a guy like Joe Burrow out there potentially that I would try to get on my team if I could. So, Matty Ice is another one, especially if Xavier Howard and Byron Jones don't play for the Dolphins. Like those are just some guys off the top of my head that I would be more comfortable playing over Teddy Bridgewater in this game, which, like I said, it's a tough matchup on the road on a short week.
Yeah, I would almost play like a Carson Wentz even over him, surprisingly.
Yeah.
By the way, this spread has moved. It was at 44, now it's at 41. So a lot of people taking the under, actually.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. But yeah, I'm okay with it if you really need it. But I'm right there with you. Pivot to Matt Ryan or some of these other guys that we talked about in the waiver wire episode, Carson Wentz, things like that. All right, and then so let's go into the running back position for the Denver Broncos. We got Melvin Gordon first. These guys are literally like getting closer and closer to a 50-50 snap count back and forth. You know what I mean? So these guys are like, it's him and Javonte Williams. The Browns defense against running backs has been pretty stout in comparison to the rest of the league. So, and that's even like there's some teams on bye week and they're still like pretty much up there and preventing rushing yards and receiving yards. The only person who really was able to, never mind, I was about to screw up a stat. Hey, by the way, did you see that guy who said that the reason that that Josh Allen didn't rush that and get that 4th down conversion was because Taylor Lewan went out? And he went on the left side and he got beat on the left side. And everybody's like,
wait,
bro.
Taylor Lewan's on the side.
Yeah, exactly. It's like ESPN, bro. That's homie did that.
Really? Oh. Was it Stephen A. Smith?
No, it wasn't. But yeah. But I almost pulled that basically right now.
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon, I'm going to shy away from these running backs. I don't know how you feel. But just in this matchup, I'm a little sketched out.
Yeah, I mean, like Mike said, Browns' run defense really tough. They're allowing just 3.6 yards per carry. That's pretty low. Anything under 4 is really good in the NFL. They're allowing just 87 total rushing yards per game. That's the 6th fewest in the NFL. But at the end of the day, with all the teams on a bye, you're looking for anybody with a pulse. So yeah. I think at this point, you're going to have to throw these guys into your lineup. And, it is close to a 50-50 split. Right now, you got Gordon playing about 50% of the snaps. Javonte Williams playing 42% of the running back snaps, 83 total touches for Gordon, 79 total touches for Javonte Williams. So, yeah, this is a full-blown running back by committee, basically 50-50 right here. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, I'm not expecting a ton of points in this game. I don't think this is going to be one of those games where, kind of like, Monday Night Football where, it's like back and forth. I think this is going to be a lot of field goals, a lot of punts. I think it's going to be kind of a boring game in my opinion. But like you said, you if you need anybody, there's just so many running backs that are on buys. There's so many running backs that are hurt that if you have a Javonte Williams or you have a Melvin Gordon, it's almost like you have to because if you go to the waiver wire, who's on the waiver wire that you could play better than these guys? I mean, who are some guys that you'd maybe play over these guys?
Yeah, it's a little rough, I'll admit. Yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, because Najee Harris on bye, Austin Eckler on bye. You got a ton of guys on bye weeks this week. You got James Robinson, Dalvin Cook. I mean, even Zach. You got Zeke on bye. You got a lot of guys on bye. So that being said, if I'm going to pick between the two, like who I like a little bit better, I'll just throw his name up on the YouTube. I like Javonte Williams over him. I think he's a better running back. Melvin Gordon's a little bit older. Javonte Williams is just if you haven't watched Broncos games, go watch him play. It's sick. It's disgusting.
Yeah. All right, let's just throw some names out here then. So like if you have one of these running backs or Damian Harris versus the New York Jets, who are you playing?
Damian Harris.
Yeah, I'm going Damian Harris right there. You got one of these running backs or you got Elijah Mitchell against the Colts?
I'm gonna pick Javonte Williams over Elijah Mitchell.
Yes, I'm gonna go I'm gonna go Elijah Mitchell over either one of these.
I'm over other running. You know me. I'm over the Niners running backs. I think it's a solid. You'd say you spoke your piece on it. Earlier this week, but
yeah. Mike Davis or one of these Broncos running backs.
Okay. I'm playing Javonte over Mike Davis.
Yeah, but what about Melvin Gordon?
I might. No, I'll play Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, I'm playing Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams over Mike Davis right here. What about – let's see if I can find a good one right here. What about – let's just stay in this matchup here. You're playing D'Ernest Johnson, who most likely is going to get the start with Chubb and Hunt out, or are you playing Javonte Williams or Melvin Gordon?
I might play Javonte Williams. No. Yeah. Just because of unknown. Fuck. I think the Broncos win this. I'm going to stick with it. I think the Broncos win this game. I think they'll control I'm going to go Javonte Williams on that one.
Yeah. I think I'll go D'Ernest Johnson. When we get to him, I guess I can break a little bit more into it. But those guys will be all in a really tight tier. Like I said, I'm not expecting a ton of fantasy points to be scored in this matchup here. So, yeah, that's just kind of where we're at engaging with these guys. I mean, most likely if you have these guys, you're going to have to play them because there are so many players on bye. Yeah,
there's a lot, and running backs are just like demolished too. You got CMC out, David Montgomery. I mean, you got so many guys out. So, okay, let's go on to the wide receiver. Dang it, I think I have the tight end position in here. We'll just skip it and go to the wide receiver position first. We got Tim Patrick. I love Tim Patrick this week just because he's the only guy there. He's the only guy left. I think he's lining up against Denzel Ward and what's his name? G. Williams. What's his?
Greedy Williams.
Greedy Williams. I think if he lines up, I'm pretty sure he's going to line up against Denzel Ward for a majority of it. But I still think just because he's besides Noah Fant, he's like the only receiving option. I do like Tim Patrick this week.
Yeah, I mean, you still got Courtland Sutton there as well. So, I mean, you're going to have both those guys.
Sorry.
But to me, I think I've been saying for a while now, everyone's so gung-ho to go get Courtland Sutton and throw him in their lineup. But Tim Patrick, we just keep talking about him each week on the waiver wire because nobody wants to go pick him up. But to me, they are I don't want to say they're the same player, but it's a 1A, 1B scenario here. It's not Courtland Sutton's the 1, Tim Patrick's the 2, and then you got Fant. No, it's 1A, Courtland Sutton, 1B, Tim Patrick. I mean, the guy in PPR leagues, he's had 12 or more PPR points in every single game except for one. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 6 games that Tim Patrick has played, if you were to play him, he would have got you 12 or more PPR points. I mean, you want to talk about a safe floor and consistency. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm like I said, for the running backs, there's so many players on buys. You got Lamb. You got, like, in one league, I got Lamb, Diggs, and I can't even remember who the other player was, but I had my top 3 receivers out, and it's like I would kill to have a guy like Tim Patrick available on the waiver wire or on my bench to throw into my lineup. But in every league that we're in, he's rostered. But yeah, Tim Patrick, I'm definitely playing him in this matchup. I think he's a nice flex guy, or if you're in a 3 wide receiver league, he's a good 3rd wide receiver. But he's got like wide receiver 2 upside because of what he's been able to produce on like a safe floor wise.
Cancel. So hot right now.
Yeah, I like Tim Patrick. Love it. By the way, we'll talk Courtland Sutton right here, but Courtland Sutton has how many more snaps than Tim Patrick do you think on the year? You probably know it.
None. I would say Tim Patrick has more snaps than him.
Courtland Sutton only has 7 more snaps.
Oh, okay.
And that's just mostly from the first game when they actually had Jerry Jeudy. So
yeah.
But yeah, let's talk Courtland Sutton. If we like Tim Patrick, are you shying away from Courtland Sutton?
No, again, there's so many players on bye, and you just need someone with a pulse in your lineup. Get me Courtland Sutton in my lineup as well. See, when I say 1A, 1B, it's like Tim Patrick is the guy with the safe floor, getting you 12 or more PPR points pretty much every single game, where you have Sutton, who's like the boom guy. He's got 3 games of 23 or more points. So it's like, do you want the boom guy or do you want the safe guy? So, because there's a couple games here where Sutton hasn't really done anything, but I mean, the targets have been there the last couple weeks, 8, 11, 14. He's definitely being targeted more than Tim Patrick. It just seems like Tim Patrick's being more efficient with his targets.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm still playing Courtland Sutton in this one. Like I said, like pretty much what I said with Tim Patrick. He's a, wide receiver 2 flex option.
Yeah, Browns given up 20 receiving touchdowns to wide receivers. Just I feel like that's.
I mean, right now you got Fantasy Pros has Courtland Sutton at 17, and they have Tim Patrick at 29. So, I mean, top 30 wide receivers you usually want to get into your lineup, especially when you have a week like this where there's so many wide receivers on a bye. I guess it just depends on who you have on your team, because you could have some solid depth at the position, and maybe you're trying to decide who to play. But like I said, Sutton's kind of like the boom guy where he can get you that 20 burger, where Tim Patrick to me is kind of like the safe floor guy.
Yeah. It makes sense. So definitely depends on your lineup. Ask us what you think in the comments. So let's go on to Noah Fant, the Broncos tight end. I feel like I'm a Broncos fan by talking about these guys, but I like Noah Fant in this matchup. Even if depending on who's playing, if Teddy Bridgewater, I mean it's looking like it's going to be Teddy, but I think Noah Fant is a very capable tight end, and when we're always talking about all these tight ends and how it's rough to find a good one. I mean, if you have Noah Fant, I don't think you're sitting him in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely not, especially after the week he had last week. I mean, he was one of our starts of the week last week, and he came out and he ended up being the number 1 highest scoring tight end for the week. He got you 24.7 points last week. He had 11 targets, 9 receptions for 97 yards and a touchdown. So, yeah, after a week like that, you're definitely keeping him in your lineup. But just for what it's worth, the Browns' defense is really tough on tight ends. They've allowed the fewest receptions to the tight end position. So I'm just curious to see what bends and what breaks here. Like, does the Browns defense hold strong to that stat of allowing the fewest receptions to the tight ends? And obviously, you don't know who they've played against. Maybe it's in a team that doesn't have a good tight end. They don't really incorporate that tight end. So sometimes those stats can be skewed. You have to look a little more in depth into them. But we are 6 weeks into the season, so they've been pretty stingy to the tight end position. So yeah, you have to start Fant, especially with how thin the tight end landscape is, but I wouldn't expect another 24-point game out of Noah Fant, especially when the matchup is a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a tough one, but I still I feel like going against rough stout defenses, tight ends tend to do pretty decent. But yeah, you're definitely starting Noah Fant. Let's go on to the Broncos defense. By the way, I got to take that back with the Tim Patrick being the only guy out there. I mean, I'm just saying because, you got Jerry Jeudy hurt, KJ Hamler hurt. There's not very many options is what I should have said.
Yeah.
Denver Broncos defense, we said to draft him or preseason,
Yeah.
But they're obviously not been the craziest defense. Depends on what you think. I think this banged up Browns team, you can play the Denver Broncos defense against Case Keenum especially.
Yeah, definitely,
dude.
Definitely, dude.
I've said that for years, and for some reason this past week you've been obsessed with that.
I don't know. Definitely,
dude. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I'm not mad at playing the Broncos here. You know, you might have. Well, it's looking most likely the Browns will be without Jedrick Willis, their left tackle, and then Jack Conklin, who is, I believe, their right tackle. So both of their starting tackles are going to be out, and that's not very good, especially when the other team has a guy named Von Miller. And I know Von Miller is maybe not the same Von Miller he was 5 years ago or when they won that Super Bowl, but still a really good pass rusher.
Did you see the quote he said?
Yeah, about like he's like, I don't care who.
He's like, it doesn't matter who I'm going up against, I'm gonna kill him.
I mean, and he's not wrong. he's not wrong. So, and obviously, like I said, you got Case Keenum there, no Kareem Hunt, no Nick Chubb. Offensive line's banged up. We don't know what's going on with Odell. We don't know what's going on with Landry. There's a lot of variables here. And, you know, for me to think that this isn't going to be a very high-scoring game, especially if I like the under when it's at like 41 points, then, yeah, give me the defense in this matchup as well. So I'm not mad at playing the Denver Broncos defense in this matchup.
Yeah. It's hot like Hansel. Hold up. Wait a minute. Check it out. So we got a partnership with Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is kind of like it's similar to other competing apps like DraftKings, FanDuel, things like that. I actually like this one better. It's brand new. It's a great app. It's run really well. I have the desktop version of it on here right now. I just want to show you guys a little bit about it. So you, like right now, you know, we just talked about the Thursday night game. You could do woo. Okay. We just broke down everything we think is going to happen in this Thursday night football game. So you can go and do this Thursday night rumble. It's a $10 entry and $50,000 in prizes. That's insane. $50K. Right there. $50,000. That's nuts. $10 entry. Go ahead. You just draft your team. Look, there's 2.2 thousand people entered in this right now. It's paying out all the way to the 1400th place. You literally you just have to beat pretty much the top. You have to be in like the top 70% in order to get into where you're actually making your money back and then a little bit of some. But you can, first place wins $10,000 all the way down. It's $50K guaranteed prizes in this, and that's not just it. If you go and check this out, this is actually my favorite part of the app. Is if you go in here, NFL, and then you go to Pick'em, you can parlay. You can't do this. You can't put a parlay in for props normally, but in the Underdog Fantasy app, you can. There's some sneaky ones in here. We were talking about Case Keenum. Case Keenum hasn't played in 3 years, so I love the over on the 0.5 interceptions, and you can parlay these together, so you can do all the way up to 20 times your money if you do 5 of them. And this is not that crazy to hit a 5-team player prop parlay, because you can really go into that and figure that out. Like, I love the Tim Patrick over 3.5 receptions. You could literally put $50 on that, on 5 of these, parlay them together. You hit them all, you get $1,000. $1,000. That's pretty nuts. This is money, honest. And so right now, if you download the Underdog Fantasy app and use promo code AVG when you sign up, AVG. Let me write that out. Yeah, so when you go to sign up, use promo code AVG while you sign up, and you'll be able to get a free $10 with your first deposit. So you can literally put $10 in, and they'll match you a $10 deposit on that. So it's a pretty good deal. Free money. Sounds pretty nice to me. If I were you, I would take advantage of these pick'ems, props that you can do. And then also the drafts are great as well. So go ahead and check that out. And if you do this, it supports the channel. So we appreciate it big time, because, it was awesome to be able to be partnered up with Underdog Fantasy. And, yeah.